Welcome to FMTrading.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. I'm here with the wonderful Nick Hunter, who is,
Hello.
yes, he's right over here in video. Nick is a fantastic FileMaker developer. We're very lucky to have him here with us. He's really kind of the top guy for UI UX, but also, frankly, there's a lot of other really cool tips and tricks that he's here to teach us. Like that, we are continuing and finishing up a series over today and tomorrow on relationships, FileMaker relationships. I need to know day 8 and day 9. And then we're going to be starting a new series about building extreme reports in FileMaker. So if you're ever like, man, my reporting game really needs to be improved, now would be the time. Um, we also have resolving duplicate records in FileMaker with Calvin Mosman on Friday. Monday, there will be no stream. With that being said, if you'd like to support the channel, we'd greatly appreciate it. We have our FM Training annual subscription bundle. It is 100 plus hours of really high energy video training content. We do streams 5 days, pretty much 5 days a week. But we also have this really awesome series, basically training series that pretty much covers everything you need to know. If you want to be know nothing about FileMaker, want to go to be an intermediate developer working on your own stuff, I highly recommend you pick this up. Or you can use it to help fill in gaps in your knowledge. Like, I don't really know scripting as well as I should. I don't really know server as well as I should, or we don't really have well, we do talk about WebDirect, but WebDirect is an interesting creature. Um, with that being said, if you've bought already, thank you very much. Now, Nick, what are we doing today?
Hello, Marge. Thank you very much.
Or
Uh, I'm adjusting my volume here. So today, thank you guys for joining the second day of the year, the second webinar of the year. So today we continue the series of the relationship. So we have 2 days on the relationship. So I'm going to cover some cool stuff. You keep always the best for the end. So yesterday we talked about the performance server, how to play with the relationship on server, how to deal with those anchors and buoy, right? Anchor buoys like this, and how to avoid building giant cluster of relationship where we have we have problems, right? So the relationship is the less the less you have concatenated relationship like this, the better it is. Okay, so and that what we say on the relationship matter is you can have as many relationship you want, like A to B, A to B, A to B, right? You can have as many relationship you want, but you cannot go deep like this, and you cannot connect a world with another world. So so that is the key. So let me share my screen right quick here. So yesterday we saw about this. We talk about this. The different worlds. So this is the real world solution against I'm using. It's quite big. We have some people here, right? So I had an interesting conversation this morning with somebody and say, yeah, but is the anchor buoy makes the solution with more relationship? Definitely yes. Definitely yes. You will have much more relationship, right? But it's like saying, is it better to have multiple roads, right? Or less roads, And I bet that it's better to have more roads, right, than less, right? Because if you have less roads, you have to go to a point A to a point B instead of to have a road that go directly there. You need to go and do like this. It's like when you take a plane and you have a 5 pit stop, right? So you don't want that. You want direct, right? So no pit stop, right? So we don't want that. So the relationship the same. It's better to have multiple direct links instead of having less and having to go and traveling like this, because you will have everything will be slow, right? Everything will be slow. So um, when when we build this, right? So yesterday, no, about try to recap. So yesterday we discovered how we can jump from one world to another, right? Using pieces. And somebody, I don't remember who, said, okay, why using a perform script on server in order to do that, right? Why we don't just go there? First of all, going on server, okay, when you need to jump to one world to another and update things like this, right? You have the first thing you need to keep in mind, right, is that you have to jump, you have to jump to a layout, right? Then do something, right? And then you go to another layout, do something, and then you go to another layout, go do something. So when you have to do this, pretty much what we were doing before is that opening a window, hidden window, and then do the stuff and close that window, to come back to where we were, because most of the time, especially when you update on commits, right? You don't want to lose where you were. You don't want to lose that. And we know with FileMaker that if we say go to layout to do something and go to 2-3 layouts, like when we come back to the original layout, right? That FileMaker says, right? We can lose where we were. You can lose the active panel. You can lose, I don't know, or open popover, stuff like that, right? So, and we don't want that to happen. Okay. So, and that's why we use this. So now I'm going to show you, right, how it works without. So let's create a new section here, right? So I'm going to add a section, an empty section, and I'm going to add a bunch of items, right, with server, okay? Knowing that the script is not fully optimized, right? And I have Zoom running, so and with the video, actually I can kill the video, maybe that can help because it kills the bandwidth, the upload. So here I select. Do you see my screen? Yeah. So I've selected some object here. I select 10 objects, right? And I want to add this in my estimate, right? So I'm validating this. So it's not fully optimized, but you will see how it is. So I'm validating this. So I have 10 objects, and you see that with server, right? So, but this is strangely slow. I was doing something. I hope I didn't break anything. Looks like I broke something. No, it's okay. Okay, no, it's just when I have Zoom, everything is super slow. So that you saw, I added 10 objects, 10 items in my estimate. So now let's do something, Let's add another 10 objects. So do the same. We do the same thing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I have 10 objects, and I'm going to deactivate on server. So here I have my perform script on server. I'm going to deactivate this, and I'm going to make it working locally. Okay? I'm going to make it locally. So I'm saving this. That's the same. When you want to perform a script, especially when you want to debug, that's how you do that. You have a perform script on server here. You deactivate perform script on server. You perform a script normally, locally, the same script, the 3597 here. You perform it in a new window, and you make the new window, you make it to land in the first layout this script needs to work, okay? And then you close it, So you open a new window, you do your stuff, and you close. So this is how it looks when you do this, right? So I'm validating this. So now this is all local. Okay. So I think I will kill it because it will take like several minutes. So this is not on server. Dun, 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 dun. So I like the Jeopardy music, you see, when we wait for something, right? So I do this. So I need to, okay, so this is because it didn't encounter something. So here, so this was broccoli, okay? So it was pretty much twice as longer to make it, right? So that's what we do on server. First of all, because we don't open, and if we have errors like this one, for example, the server, you don't care because the server here, this stuff here, it fails here. It fails when, because I have no subsection. So here, this failed, right? It failed. So that's why I had an error here, right? But on server, you don't care. On server, you won't see anything. It won't do it, especially that I made this. I said, if there's an error, if there's no error, do it. If there's an error, don't do it. That's what I'm saying here. When there's an error, do it. Okay. So that was without the what's the name? The PISOs, right? So the perform suite on server, um, additional to the speed, you can what's the name? You don't have to take care of many things. Error handling, layouts, windows, all of this, you don't need to take care of this. Okay. So here, and so do you have any question about this before we switch to another topic?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Question. I learned that one has to make tables as small as possible because if you have wide tables, a lot of fields in a table, the database will get slow, but your files are not slow. Can you explain this?
Okay. So yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it's related. Okay. Here, okay. So let's take because the problem is the file I've used here most of the time are files from the past, and I modernize the file. I really don't have, but I can do like this, and look how many fields I have. Okay, so that the latest table that I have. So as you can see here, I really have a few fields here. In because I have a lot of tables with small amount of fields. Each time, if you have to create a lot of fields, like you know what I mean. When you have a field and you say field one, field two, field three, field four, when you have a lot of repetition like this, that means there's something wrong. That is not. You don't have to build that way. Okay. So yeah, I don't have a lot of the to me here, the biggest I will have will be the estimate one, right? The estimate item. But in this one, I have a lot of time, those I can just delete them because I don't use them. All of those something, I don't use them. This I can delete that. I can delete all of this. Not this, but all of those I can delete. So I have out of the 131, I have at least 50 that I can get rid of, and I will at the end, right? But yes, don't get a table with hundreds of fields. This is bad design. First of all, it's difficult to manage. Let's be honest, it's difficult to manage, and we have many ways to avoid that. Many ways to avoid that, and I can make a demonstration out of this one day. I can do that. How we can avoid having a lot of fields in a table, right? Because that definitely will slow down everything. Because you have an index problem, and you have so you have a lot of problem behind this. Okay, so you have a lot of problem behind this, and it's difficult to handle. More you slice, and more you have opportunities, right? To Yeah, I have a good example to show you here. But for that, I need to what's the name? I need to unshare my screen real quick, because I cannot show who is this. I have a strong confidentiality, but I can show you the what's the name? The database, the managed database, right? So going to open this, and I'm going to show you the managed database, so I can show you. I can show you an example of this, which is it was a good question. So okay, so I can share the screen real quick. Okay, share screen. Sorry for that. So we have here a database, and it's quite, it's quite a big database. It starts to be big, and yeah, I didn't go there for a long time. So we have quite a relationship here, right? So we start having some people here, right? So we have big stuff, right? And obviously you can see where we have a lot of things like this one, for example, here, you know that this is where we have the most relationship, right? So this file it's a clean file, right? So here you have the real example where we shouldn't do that, right? And we have this, when you have those things, when you have address one, when you have all of those things like this, so that means you have something wrong with your design, okay? So when you have a lot of things like this, all of those things, all of those numbers repeating things like this and process, So when you have a lot of things like this, like this, for example, that means you have a problem on the design. All of those fields that I show you is like this, like more than a half, I'm going to get rid of it because I replaced that from something else. So of course that was a file before with this type of design here, right? With a kind of a mixed match of Anchor Buoy and a spider web, right? So how we do, how we do slice everything, okay? When we want to avoid to have a lot of things like this. Here, right, I have a lot of tables, okay? I have many tables. For example, here, we have different stages, so I'm not going to explain everything, okay? But here how it works, okay? I need to export and import a lot of data, okay? So in every time you have item here, at the end, when this will be done, we will have millions with a S, hundreds of millions of records in that table, okay? In the table here, right? So it's a database where they export and import a lot of things, right? In order to avoid, what you want to avoid in that case is to have to get to that, to open that table, to show the table on the surface, okay? Is to see to display the table, to access the table. You don't want that to happen. All those item stuff here, you don't want to happen to display on the layout. You want to import data inside, get what you need to get out of this, and get out of this, get out of here. But to do so, you need to have another table, lighter, right? With all the information you need from the big table, right? And then you're going to show that table. For example, here, I show you. Here I have if I go there, in this one here, let's go there. If I go there, here. Okay, so we have a layout, right? So you see here we have a lot of things, okay? Why get rid of, okay. Okay, we have a lot of things here, okay? So we have, I think I already showed that, but I'm going to explain again. We have a lot of things, but we have access to one, the main table, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We have 7 tables to display all of this. Do you think this is a field in the table I am in? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a field from another table. Okay? It's a field from another table. It looks like it's a field in that table, but it's not. You know? So I explain. Here I have 12 records. Why? Because it's the year, right? It's from this time here to this month to the another month, and then everything, like every month you keep going, right? So that 12 months, because it's the monthly. It's a monthly. Okay. So we have one table here. This is the main table. Okay. So this is the original data table. This is what you have. Okay. So this is a very clean table because I create myself. Okay, so you see, I don't have a lot of things. I have a lot of IDs. Remember, I told you I have a lot of IDs because I'm carrying, the service ID, the queue, the project, the project's invoice, instruction type, client, auditor. I have a lot of things here. I have a lot of IDs because I'm connected. I'm connected to other tables. So if you want to have small tables, you need to have more connections. And to have connection, we need IDs, Then we have this ID here, this field here. We have this table here. This is one table. This table on top, it's a cross-reference table. It's the 5. It's the one connecting the service to the project. So pretty much it's the bridge between that world here and the project world. Okay? So it's the bridge between, here we have project world. This is a project world, right? So this is the bridge. This relationship here is the bridge between two worlds. And guess what? Here, I'm going to the cross-reference 5. So here I'm showing the cross-reference 5 what's the name? Records. And then here, when I click on one, I'm getting here, and I have one. The top is, okay, you are displaying this world connected to the project world by this, right? And then, so we avoid having project info. I don't have any project info here. The only project info I have here is a project ID, but I don't have any project info. All the project info I need, I have them in my cross-reference table. And here I have a lot of things. I have all the statuses, what's the name? The service display, the quantity, the process by, okay, all of those things I have there in the cross-reference table. Then we must attach CSV files. And out of these CSV files, okay, so we have the client file. So this is another table I have. So instead of putting, like for example, instead of putting 10 containers, in that world, instead of putting here in that world, instead of putting 10 containers or 15 containers or 20 containers, right, in a container field, no, I have, guess what? I have original data files, right? Where I have a container, one container field, and I'm adding as many records I want to get all my containers files. So I can add a new file to that world without creating a field, right? And then you understand now how it works. All of those things are the size, the number of records, because when we import something here, when I drag a CSV files here, CSV files, when I drag it, I'm importing the data of that file, of that CSV, in another table that I call original data item. So this is where I'm putting all the data. I'm importing all the data. So those are mandatory because they are the fields of the fields of the file, the CSV files I'm receiving from the customer. So I'm receiving the file from the customer. I'm adding the file here with the number of records, right? Because when I add the physical file, the physical CSV, I have something that import the file, the records, in another table. And then I can process everything I want. I generally use this to generate another file, another CSV. But this CSV file is related, this file here is related to that world by another cross-reference table that I have here. So I have another cross-reference table crossing, and then I have this here, and thanks to this, I have this. Then the same for here. I'm receiving records here. I can receive records. You have view records. I'm receiving records. So I'm receiving a file back. I'm receiving a CSV files. Okay. So I receive the file. I import records. So guess what? Now I have another table, another set of table. This is the results. This is here. This is this. This is a result table that I use to use the bridge here. This is a files table, and I have the item table where I'm receiving a bunch of stuff. But you can see that on the surface, I am not displaying. Never I'm displaying the table with all the records, right? And to finish the topic on this, here the same. This looks like a field, right? If you see that, you say, okay, oh, that's a field. No, it's not. Obviously, it's a field, but it's a field I have what's the name? A table here. So here, instead of having a calculation field for high, a calculation field for medium, a calculation field for low, and a calculation field for total, don't remember where, I have here a table, okay, that is this one, reports item. See, small one. And I'm using the grade it's a record. So it's a little bit complicated, but I don't have a calculation. I don't have a calculation for a field with a calculation. I don't. I have a record, right, where I'm putting the numbers inside. So I have a script that calculates that for me, right? Give me the number, a perform script on server, of course, that runs through the millions of records, the millions, right? Take how many record I have based on the grade level ID, because I have a grade level ID. So I have a grade level. I have a grade table. See, I have a grade level table, where I'm putting my grades there, right? And then I have plenty of stuff. So I have the reference, right? So everything is record based, I don't have a bunch of fields. I never do. I slice on multiple small tables and I split this and I'm connecting the dots always, with a relationship. And that's why you see, but this is a good example because now I can show you something about the anchor buoy, about the anchor buoy. Look at this. So here I have all my worlds, you know, I have the original data here with all, so I have plenty of one to be, one to be, one, A to B, A to B, A to B, A to B, like this, to the report, to the result, to the exports, to the, to the auto trace, to the scheduler, to the, and then I have the same here. I have the original data item. Remember, this is where I'm receiving millions of records. So I have all the connection I need in order to that to work. And then I have the original exports. And then I have the original export files. And then I have original data files. So it's all small worlds like this. So I have tables and I have worlds like this, I have anchors, right? For all of them. See, I have the mortality result item, the mortality result, the mortality result files, the report item. I have all the worlds like this because I have, and each time it's a table. It's a table, it's a table, it's a table. So, and to connect the dots together, of course, you have all of those are IDs. IDs. Everywhere you go, you have the same, and pretty much you have the same IDs, you see. So you have a client, original data, So you have everything you need. You need to carry up all the ID you need to connect your world together, right? And then, of course, after that, you have scripts that goes, PSOCs and stuff like that. See, for example, here, you have a lot of things going on, like the 4132, something like this. No, hold on. I need to go to the queue. Let me go to the queue. Queue. Okay. I need the name of the script. Yeah, so 4132A. Okay. So 4132A. Where is it? Here. Okay. So you see all the IDs that I'm carrying, all of this, the mortality ID, the mortality results, that is a cross-reference, the project, the client, the service, the current month, the session ID, the current account name as a scheduler ID. I'm carrying all of this because, and each time I have other script that goes, you see, when I export the file, then I import the records, right? And I have a bunch of pesos, and another one, another pesos here, another pesos. And then I have other parameters with a bunch of ID. Pretty much what I'm sending from script to script and from world to world, I'm sending IDs because those are creating records, and I need the records when I create them to be connected to another world. So I need to connect all the world together. I need this one to be connected to this one to be connected to this one, right? So I need to carry up all the IDs and send them as a parameter into my performance return server that process stuff. Because this, sometimes here you have another, so you collect your parameter and then you have another thing going on here, right? So, but you see, when you slice like this, you know exactly where you are and you know exactly where you go. And it's not slow, even though you have a lot of things connected. It's not slow because it's not a big monolithic piece of junk. Okay. So if we have our questions that
Question, with a locally hosted file, i.e. not on server, is there a way to run scripts and not wait for them to complete like with PSOS so it can run in
no,
the background?
no, impossible. No. And that is the audio. That's a good comment. You can run stuff on PSOS without waiting for it. Say, okay, do this, and if you don't need the results, if you don't need the result of the PSOS, you say, okay, updates, and I don't care because I won't sit, or I don't need the result, or you can run the PSOS and forget about it. It's done. You don't even feel it in anything, right? So that's another good thing about the PSOS is that it's like having a multitasking FileMaker pretty much because the server is taking care of this, right? Of course, so I have to temper a little bit what I'm saying here. You cannot do everything on server. You cannot do that. First of all, good luck with this because it's kind of complicated. But you cannot do that. You cannot do everything on server because otherwise you're going to kill your server. So that's why the script I show you, this one, those big script here, they name piece of okay, this one, yes. This one, it is run on PSOS, on server because it's believe it or not, it's not a big deal. You see, for example, here, that's a good example. I want to know. Here, I'm processing the report, so I need to know counts. I need to know counts. I need to know how many records I have. And I don't even run an auto entry calculation. No, I'm running a script. And then in this table, the count, or the count, what's the name, field, it's a script doing it, right? Why? Is because this here, this stuff here will deal with millions of records. So I have a bot for that. So I showed the bot. I have a bot for that. So I let the bot doing it. But this is running on server because it's not that slow. That will take like maybe 4 or 5 seconds to process. Okay, but the big one, 4132A, this one is not on server. It runs stuff on server, but the big thing is not on server, which is the export and the import and the export. All of those things are not on server because I don't want the server to be busy for hours. Okay, so yeah, that gives me the opportunity to show you about and talk about the indexes and stuff like that, right? Because it's part of the relationship, the index. We need to index records. Okay, we need to index that because otherwise there's no relationship possible because the relationship works on index. Okay, so I'm not going to do a course of index. I'm going to do a what matter, what matter when you use a relationship and you have a lot of records. Okay, when you have a lot of records, you need to use, like I do here. I have a good example here. So I have those here. So here, you can see here, I'm using UUID numbers. When for regular project table, I'm using, oh yeah, because it's a copy paste, but normally I'm not the good example, the good bad example. Here I'm using UUID, right? Why? Is because it doesn't matter. So the difference between both. So let's see, first of all, what it looks like. Okay. Okay. Get UUID like this. So when you have a UUID, you have a sequence like this, right? So, numbers, letters, right? It's a mix mash of both. And when you have the UUID number, is this. So here the catch. Okay, here the catch. First, you can see there's a difference of displaying. Okay, so this is smaller. This is way longer. Okay. Okay. So um, why I don't use this when I don't need to is because this, to be honest with you, is easier to read. And it's easier to say, oh, okay, I want the record 8 8D2, for example, right? So, you know, uh, you want to search for a record, or the record ID 8D2, you know, 8D2. You will find one only. You will find one only. But when you use UUID numbers, more likely 591, you will have many. You need to get a sample much larger in order to make sure you're going to find the record you want, right? If you want to do a find manually for testing, debugging, whatever, right? So I don't like the number to do my normal work. Okay, I use the UUID normal. Okay, but when it comes to when I have a lot, but when I say a lot, it's a lot of records. You need to be very, very economic. Okay. So here I'm using number and I'm putting this field a number. Why? Is because you know the difference between those things, right? The difference between those things is the indexing. It won't index the same way. The indexing will be much faster and smaller, right? Turning this in number and getting this a UUID number. Even though the ID will be longer, right? It's only numbers. So when you have to index a UUID, you know, with alphanumerical, you deal with an index much bigger because you have letters, numbers, right? So and text. When you have numbers, you deal with 10 digits, 0 to 9. You don't deal with more. You deal with 10 digits. So it will be an index based on digits only. Okay. So, and that will be much faster, right? So much faster. So now, do we have any question on this? I bet we have.
We do. I can imagine converting an existing table from UUID to UUID number would be a nightmare, yeah?
Yeah, but I have a technique for that. Oh, that's a good demonstration for tomorrow because I've done that recently,
Cool.
and that could be a good demo tomorrow. If you like, I can do that tomorrow. Um, it's not that a nightmare because tomorrow I want to do a demo about the using the importation, right, as carrying things through relationship without using relationship, and I can do a demo for that. You know, that could be cool. I will see. I will see if I can do it. If I have time to, carry on this. But yes, it could be challenging. Okay, it could be challenging, but it depends. Really depends. How you know how big is your file and how clean is your file. If you ask me to do that in my file here, I will kill you because it's in that type of files when you have everything connected to everything is kind of challenging. But there's technique we can use that. I'm trying tomorrow to do that. Why not using the good old serial number? Why using a UUID and not the good old this one, serial number. Why? Why we don't do, for example, here I am in or RD and 000, well, like this, something like this, like the old days, right? 001 like this and stuff like that. But first of all, when you have millions of records, dealing with this is kind of it's a nightmare, right? And then this has a flaw, a big flaw, okay? And I'm going to show you what it is, okay? The flaw on this. The flaw is this. So if you have, so I can close that file, I think. Let's say I have this construction here. Okay, so I have this. And here, and I know I wanted to show that because I saw a kind of a discussion in Discord that matched this. And what do I want to do here? So I'm showing this. What do I want to do here? I want, right, to add, see here, I have which one it is? Where is it? Okay. I have here, so you need to watch here. Here, I have a new material ID. So each time I'm clicking, right, I have one item here. And if I click here, now I have two. If I click here, now I have three. If I click here, 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 I'm adding things. I'm piling. So piling is very easy. Very easy. But let's say I'm going to remove the second one here. I want to get rid of this one. I know it was on Discord today, because I'm reading what you say, guys. So here I want to remove that. How I'm doing this. So the second one, I want to remove the 4227, I want to remove it. Right? This one. Boom. It's gone. So the problem we have, so how we do that? So I can show you the script. So let's put it back. So this is how we do that. Here I'm saying, okay, we use pattern counts. If you want to use pattern counts, and if you want to use substitutes, you cannot rely on serial number because you don't have enough variety to make sure that you're not going to remove something existing. Let me explain. Let's say, okay, I have a list. So I'm have a let, and I'm going to put to a list, okay? And my list, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's say something like this: 100, 110, 10, 1,000, and 1,000 like this, okay? And like this. That's my list. So far, so good. Okay, a list. So if I'm displaying the list, that's the list. Okay, that's my list. So far, so good. Now, right, I have this list, and I want to remove from that list. I want to pattern count. For example, I want to pattern count 10. So in my list, I want to pattern count 10. I have 7 times 10. Okay. I have 10 here. I have 10 here. I have 10 here, 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 and 2 times here. Ha! Okay. So that's a problem. right? It's a big problem because how can I do that, right? How I can pattern count this? 10. You cannot. It's okay. So I cannot say if I have 10 in my list. Yeah, I will have 10. I will have 10, but I can do the same with 100. I have 3 times 100. One here, and one here, right? I can do that with, I don't know, 11. I have 2 times here and here. So you cannot, you understand what I mean, right? But if you add millions, it will be the same. Okay. So now, if I get rid of my, so we understand that, right? So we got it. So now I have a list, UUID, okay? So I think I have a list of, okay. Now I have another list here. Okay. So I have another list. I have this list of, okay, yeah. So I have this list. Okay. This is my list, right? And I want to pattern count in my list. I want to pattern count this in this list. 1. Why? Because look, 184017. It's impossible that this will be twice. Impossible, but 1,000, yeah. 1,000 you will have on 1 million, you will have on 10 million, you understand? So you will have something existing. Another problem we have, okay, so now you got the points. See, I'm saying pattern count, it will say yes or no. If I'm adding a number here, it's no. Because you know what I mean? So, but here, if I say like this in this list, right? If I say 100, I have 3, but if I'm adding a 0, okay, I have 1, right? So you don't have the ability to count on this. The other problem you have, and that's a big problem, it's the substitutes, right? Because let's say, okay, I want in my, let's say I need to get one example. An example we can see. I can take the second one. Okay? I take the second one, the 5541. Okay? So let's say I want to substitute. No, first, let's say the substitute on that list, sorry. Right? I have the list. I'm searching 10. What I'm doing? I'm searching 10, and I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of it. See, this is what I have. It's going to remove 10. Oh, yeah, it removed 10. It removes this, it removed this, it removed this, it removed this, it removed this, and you remove this completely. Right? See? So now let's do the same exercise on the list. So I think I lost my 55. Okay, copy. So I want to substitute, okay, from my list. I want to substitute this with nothing. Boom. That's the only one on my entire list. That's the only one missing. Okay? That's the only one missing. Because my sample is way wider than just this. What I'm doing here, I'm saying, okay, if I have it, if the new ID I just clicked, the UUID, you know, the big one, if I have it on my list, Okay, if I have it, do this. If I don't have it, add it to the list. So, so that's easy to do. When you have a variable and you want to pile into the variable, you want to pile something, you want to pile up, okay? What you do, right? You create a variable, you call itself in the calculation, you call itself and you say, whatever I have already in the variable, add this. See? I want the list or whatever the list in the variable is, and add this one, add the one I just clicked. And you was adding like this. That's what is going to do, right? Never ending. Okay. So here, here's a new, right? So you click here, it will keep adding things. Like, if I click here, here, it's still adding here. Right? Still add. So now the tricky part, this is easy, but the tricky part is to remove. So first of all, we need to have a pattern count. And we learned that we cannot pattern count on the small number or on the serial number. It doesn't work. So the pattern count, we use it on the UUID because we know it will say yes or no. It won't be, yes, I have it 10 times or 20 times or 1,000 times. No, it will say I have it or I don't have it, but one only, okay? And then what I'm doing here, so what we do, we use the substitute, okay? And that's easy because I show you, okay? That easy to remove from a list something that is unique. If you remove 10 out of a list of 1,010, 1,000,010, 100, 110, 210 or 510, it will remove the 10 on everybody. Here we're sure that we take the ID and we say, in that list, in the big list I have, since I have it, I know you have it. So I'm running this. You substitute from that list, whatever the ID is there, right? And then we take care of the whatever carriage return, This is for the middle values. Okay, this is for the middle values. This is for the first value, and this is for the last value. That is for the value in the middle. That is for the value at the beginning, and this is for the value at the end. Because here we say, if you have carriage return material, if you want, do you want, guys, I show you that, or do you want some, you want?
I think they do because we got a question about pattern count. Like, is pattern count better than filter values for checking if the values exist in the list?
Oh yeah, the filter value. Sorry, guys. You want to kill me, right? So filter value. Oosh. Yeah, you can. You know what? With an atomic bomb, and you want to swat a mosquito, you sure? You're sure to sweat it. And actually, you're not that sure, actually. So remember what I told you. The first value, the value with a carriage return and a value, carriage return and a value, carriage return and a value, carriage return and a value. This is always a value that is after the first and before the last. Always. So the first substitute with carriage return and the ID, that will get rid of the ID and the carriage return. So you won't have a blank. Then that needs to be first. Then we take care of the first one. because the first one is tricky, because the first one has no carriage return before. So that means that condition of the carriage return and ID won't work. So you said, if you have this one, if you have the ID and the carriage return, that's the first one. It cannot be, it cannot be something else, right? And then you say, okay, this one has, it's an ID, but there's no carriage return before, after that. And we cannot count on the carriage return before, you know? So we count on this one has nothing, right? So that's the last one. So this is how I'm dealing with it. So I know some people has different ways, but this is how I'm dealing with it. And I never have a problem, because the advantage we have now that we have a new material list, the list on clicking, right? Since we have something clean here, new material IDs, it's something clean. Okay? Guess what I'm getting for free out of this? I have 10. So my selection here is 10. How I'm getting it? Counting the variable. I don't even need to, at that point, right? I didn't even set a field. I didn't even set a single field. I just click and it's a variable, right? And I can even count them, I'm counting them without any problem, right? So that, because I have a clean list, this is clean, always, it's always clean. This one, I don't have a white, a blank gap, because if you have a blank gap, counting this will be false, because you have a blank, and it will count that as a value, right? So you don't want that. So if we don't have any question, I think we're good to land the boat.
We have one last question. I use position parentheses because I read that it is fast. Nick, is that better than pattern count?
What?
Position.
Doesn't apply here. Yeah, it applies, but no, it's not. It's not, because you ask the pattern count will run through, and the position will run through on each character. So I try to make clear the position. First of all, where did I put that? The position is in text. It's not in values. Look, the position is in text here. Yeah, but everything is in text. But the position, right? The position is a text kind of and pattern counts is text also. Yeah. Okay. How to explain? Yeah, but so the position on. So you said if you get a position, that means you have a. So let's say you have a list like this, and you say 1, 2, 3, and search string 3, start 1, occurrence 1. So when you say this, but if you say 30, if you said 34, it says 0. Yeah. No, but by far I prefer pattern count, because first you don't have these two things to answer, right? This, the start and the occurrence. Pattern count, you say, okay, I want to find in that list, 1, 2, 3. In that list, search this, boom, or search this, boom, right? And you can see if you already have it multiple times, okay? Because if you say this and this and this and this, okay, and you say, okay, how many twos I have? So you have 3 already, right? So you can have this, which you cannot have on position. Position is to tell you, where something is located in the text or in the list, right? Where it's located, right? But it's not a good manner to do that. No, I don't think so, because no. It works, but I don't think it's a pattern. Anyway, pattern count is much faster anyway, because it doesn't care of the position. You understand? So it's not it doesn't care of the position. Other question? Or we good?
We have one question.
Yep.
In my solutions, I use a mix of count values with a filter value. To avoid blanks with my method, I use a combination 3 substitutes that the first, last, and middle values are included. Do you avoid this message for PCU usage?
I use a mix of count value with a filter value. Sorry for using. Yeah. To avoid blank with the method, I use a combination of 3 substitutes. Yeah. So you answer yourself to why it is not so that the first, last, and middle value and include. Yeah, but it's pretty much the same, right? It's pretty much the same than substituting, right? So filter value, okay? So what you do, okay, I'm going to answer yourself. Okay, I'm going to answer why. What you do, it's something like this. This, and this, right? Something like this. I'm exaggerating. It's like pretty much doing an if with an if with an if is pretty much doing this. That's what you do. Why we use substitutes? Oh, I have on my script. I don't need to, because substitute has this built in. So let me show you. Substitute, you have this. You don't do a substitute within the substitute within the substitute. You don't do that. So what you do is it's passing 3 times all the time. You will have free pass. Here, substitute works exactly like the case. Okay. The first that match stops the process, and you can have multiple substitute. You can have substitute that by that, or substitute that by that, or substitute that by that. But you don't have to do a substitute with it. You don't do that. We don't do that. We don't need to do that. Substitute and substitute and substitute. You don't boom, 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 boom like this, because substitute has built in the ability to add multiple of those things here, right? So you can have the substitute on this and the substitute on this, and it will try this one first. And that's why I want to make that first. So that's a reason. That, right? It's the first to try, because when you have a list like this, the more likely to happen is one of those, because you have only one first and one last. So I want that to happen first, because that will happen more often than this and this. So this will happen always, and sometime I will remove the first one or the last one. And then he said, okay, he will pass this one. He said, okay, oh, this doesn't match. That match or doesn't match. That match doesn't match. You know, so that's why I'm doing this. I hope I answered. Did I answer? Oh, they have a lag, right? On
Yeah,
YouTube.
they do. So hopefully that answers, but we should probably wrap it up.
Yep.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Nick, for doing this.
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to try to do the how to substitute. That would be a good exercise if I have time, guys. If I have time, okay. Doing this. So see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much. And Andy, I see your question, but I'm going to ask it tomorrow because I got, unfortunately, a place I need to be. So.
Okay.
So save your question. I see it. It is saved.
Okay. So tomorrow.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!